Hello, I'm Jamila Payne from Color Me Crafty, and today we are going to be sublimating on Siser Flock Strip Pro. I am making some senior night shirts for my nephew, and I'm going to show you the process of how I created the design in Photoshop, and then I'm going to walk you through getting everything cut, printed, as well as pressed onto a black shirt. Before we get started, if you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you never miss another one of my videos. And at the end of this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and drop me a comment below. For this project, you're going to need a t-shirt. I am using black Bella and Canvas shirts. I'm going to use my HTV Rod Auto Press to press the sublimation design and also the vinyl on. I am using Siser Stripflock Pro. I have heat tape, my lint roller. I'm going to use my Cricut Maker. And then a couple other tools that I just have handy is my weeding tool and my brayer tool. And then I have a long mat as well as a short mat. All right, let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to do is type out my text. And this is a senior class shirt, so you can't see either layer because they're both white. Let's change those to black. And I'm going to make these bigger. And let's try making the word senior. Let's do impact font for this one. Impact is my favorite for things like this. So I want to make all of these letters capitalized, so I can either retype it or I can go over here to character. If you don't see character, you can go up to window and then click on character and it'll pop out. And then I'm going to click these T's and it changes everything to all caps. And I'm not sure if I like that. We're going to change this one to impact as well. And again, all caps. And I want these to be the exact same size. So I'm going to align them to the left. And then if I click on this one, it tells me what the text size is, but I can click up here and see what the width and height is, and I want the width of the word class to be 10.39 as well. So they're now the exact same size, and I want these to be a little bit closer. So I'm going to make them closer and then center them. Now I'm going to merge these layers, but first I have to rasterize them and then merge them into a single layer. And I am going to delete out this I because I want the year to be the I. So we're gonna right click on the eraser tool, or you can just long press it and then click on the magic eraser, and then I'm just gonna click on the I. So go back to the text and I am gonna type in the year. And I'm gonna hold down shift and turn that because I want it to stay straight up and down. And then I want this 2024 to be the same length as these letters. And I probably should have done this before I merged them, but it's all right. So I'm just gonna make them match. So now our 2024 is our year, And what I want to do here is I want to make that just a little bit thicker. So I'm going to right click and go to convert to shape and then select the path selection tool, and I'm going to add a stroke. And I want the stroke to be black. We can't get too big without distorting the way that the text looks. So that's actually a little bit too big, I think. I think that's good. All right. And then we're going to select that whole thing and merge it, and then bring our image in. So the image is actually not going to be, I mean, you're going to sublimate it. So you can do it one of two ways. You can print the image and then just press it onto the shirt, or you can place the image and then cut it out with your cutter. I prefer printing the image and then pressing it onto the shirt, but to see how it's going to look in the end, I do like to create a clipping mask to show me how it's going to look. And I feel like I need to make this just a little bit larger. Just to give me an idea of what it's gonna look like once it's printed. But you gotta try to make sure that it's placed correctly when you go to place it. So we're putting this on a black shirt. So I'm gonna put it on a black background, and that is our design. So I've swapped out the picture from the design that we created just because they like this picture better. The next thing we need to do is save the design and move over to Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to turn this layer off, and I'm just going to save this as a PNG file. I'm going to go to File, Export As, and I'm going to let this system box open up, and I want to save it as a PNG and a transparent PNG. Sometimes with larger files you can't do the save as and then use PNG, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Go ahead and click on export. Find the folder that you are saving your project into and go ahead and click on save. So over in Cricut Design Space, you can either click on new project or go directly to your canvas. I'm going to click on upload, and I want to bring that image in that we just saved. Here's our image. Click on the image and then click open. And it's a simple design. I don't have to remove anything from the background. The lines are smooth, so I just choose simple when I'm importing a PNG that I've created. I'm gonna click on apply and continue. And I don't want to save this as a print and cut image. I want to save it as a cut image. So you can click on the image. You can name it. I usually name my things when I save them, and when it imports, it saves here in Cricut Design Space. And then I'm also going to upload the photo. Now, before Cricut Design Space changed the dimensions of your print area for print and cut, I did not do this way. Again, I don't need to make any changes to this image. So I'm going to click on continue, and the image is going to be huge. So I'm just going to click on apply and continue. And then for the photo, I need to save it as a print and cut image. Go ahead and click on upload. So I'm going to add both of these to my canvas. Now, if you have to, you can go back and resize your image. I did have to resize mine. It was a little bit too large for Design Space to bring into the software. So the first thing I'm gonna do is resize this, and I'm gonna resize it to 10.5. And then I want to do the same thing with this one. Resize to 10.5, and it's actually, we need it to be just a little bit bigger to cover the entire design. And with an image like this, you could totally just print it out from your regular from your sublimation printer and then press it on. But now that we can print larger, I am going to have my Cricut cut around the image so that it's a little bit easier for me to place. All right, so we are ready to get everything cut and printed out. So the next thing we're going to do is click on Make It. Absolutely hate printing from Cricut Design Space. So from here, what we're going to do is go ahead and get this saved so that we can print it out from Photoshop. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and mirror both our vinyl layer as well as our text layer, and then click on Continue. Now we want to send it to the printer. My maker is already on, and then you'll get this system dialog box. You want to choose your printer, and I'm using my Epson 8550. I'm going to leave the bleed on, and I'm going to use the system dialog box. So once you click this Use System Dialog Box button and then click Print, for me, sometimes it does this for a while and I find the print box back here. So you're gonna go ahead and check all of your settings. I usually leave my media on auto select, but I want the best quality print. Everything else is good, so now I'm gonna go ahead and click on Print. Cutting Stripflock Pro is going to be a lot like cutting most other vinyls. You're going to place it shiny side down onto your mat. I like to cut off the excess vinyl, that way I'm not wasting any, and I'm just using my rotary cutter and Cricut ruler for that. And then I use the brayer to secure it a little bit more. I'm going to follow the prompts on the screen to get it loaded in. The machine is going to measure my mat first, and then the triangle will flash and tell me it's time to go ahead and cut it. I'm just going to let it cut out the material. Once it's done, you can go ahead and weed out the design. It weeds just like any other normal vinyl. I did go ahead and print 2 copies of this design. I printed one from Cricut Design Space, and I saved one as a PDF and printed from Photoshop. The one you see on the right is from Cricut Design Space, and the one on the left is from Photoshop. I find that my Photoshop images come out way more vibrant than printing from Cricut Design Space, and I would assume it's because of the color profiles and things like that as far as printing from Cricut Design Space. So I just wanted to show you the difference. I'm going to press the one from Photoshop. I did cut around the image just to make it a little bit easier to place, because I am going to have to make sure that his eyes are in the right place for it to look good on the design. So I'm going to go ahead and get my shirt prepared while my press is heating up. I am using a Bella and Canvas shirt. We're going to find the center of the shirt first by folding it down the middle and giving it a quick press with the heat press. And you don't have to wait for your heat press to heat up completely to find the center of the shirt. You just want it to be hot enough to give it a crisp line that you can see. So once I have the line down the center of the shirt, I am going to place it on my heat press platen, and you can't see the line in the middle, but there is a line there. I'm going to give it a quick roll with my lint roller to remove any lint or debris that is stuck to the shirt, because you don't want that under your vinyl and you don't want it in between your vinyl and your shirt. I'm going to do the same thing with my design and find the center of it. And the way I do that is put the front of the design and the back of the design together, and then just give a quick pinch at the top and a quick pinch at the bottom. And now I am going to line those up with the line that I made in my shirt. Cover it with my Teflon, and then I'm gonna press it. Just give it a quick 5-10 second press. It doesn't need to be completely secured. You just need it to be pressed enough to stick to the shirt at this point. Remove the transfer backing, and you want to be careful when you're removing it, because because we didn't press that for the full amount of time, you may have some areas that might want to come up. So next I am going to place my design, and I kind of cut my design exact to the words because it makes it a little bit easier to press. And you see me here just checking the placement of his eyes, because I want to be able to see his eyes through the design, if that makes sense. Once I have it placed exactly where I want it, I am going to go ahead and tape everything down real good, because I don't want this to move at all during the pressing process. I am pressing this at 400 for 60 seconds. Once your press beeps, you can go ahead and remove the sublimation transfer to reveal your design. And here's the final look. Stripflock Pro gives kind of a vintage look, but it still looked very cool. Glitter will always be my favorite, but this is another great alternative to glitter. So here is our final look. I think the shirt turned out great. The Stripflock gives it a little bit of a vintage look. This was the first time that I printed on Stripflock. I usually do glitter, but because he's a man's man, we had to do something a little bit different. But I think it turned out beautiful. Thanks for watching.